Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario. This is scenario 4.6. We're over at the Sky Pharaoh's throne with the character Drelm. We're at this location. The difficulty of your checks against Banes that have the mummy trait is increased by 4. And after you are dealt damage that is not reduced, bury one random card from your discard pile. Alright. We will go ahead and get started. Drum's hand is fine. Advancing the Blessings deck, it's a Blessing of Matt and Exploring. We get the Poison Blade Trap. So it's a Disable 7 check. Drum's Disable is D10 plus 5. So he's feeling pretty good about that. Since it has the Trap trait, Drum can also use his Divine skill. So this is an auto defeat. Alright, that's pretty sweet. Alright, looking at the hand, it's great. Advancing the Blessings deck, Blessing of Osiris. Exploring, and we get the henchman of this scenario, who is technically the villain. So it says here, so he's immune to the mental and poison trait. It is a mummy, so we do have to add +4 to this check. If we don't have anything with the fire trait, so it says, before you act, attempt an intelligence, charisma, or diplomacy 20 check. So, let's look at our hand. Basically, Drelm's charisma, so it says charisma, so his charisma is D6. His intelligence is also D6. So, let's see, what can we do here? So we could go ahead and roll it like a D6. We could use a blessing for 2D6. So I think there's no way we can make that check. So if we fail, yeah, if only we had like multiple dice, because we have like a effigy of Matt. So if we had like, if we were able to roll like 4 dice, we might be able to make that. Oh well, but as it is, we are gonna fail this check. So we have to recharge our hand, then reset our hand and bury a card. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So we have to recharge the Natron Fang. That kind of hurts. So resetting our hand, and let's see what we get. And we have to bury one of those cards. So that sucks. We're gonna bury the Tomb Raider. So now we really don't have anything in our hand that's gonna help us defeat this villain. So that really sucks. The only thing we got is the embalming fluid. So we got the embalming fluid that'll let us add. So basically, we don't have any weapons or spells. So Drelm has a D10 melee check with the embalming fluid. So we're gonna go ahead and roll. Our total buffs are gonna be +6, and that's it. So we rolled a 7 and 6 is a 13, and we need a 30. So what we're going to do is we're going to recharge Maga 3 Fingers, add 3 to that roll, just so that we can recharge the card. We're going to roll for the embalming fluid, that effect. So unfortunately we fail that check with the embalming fluid. So we have to bury the top card of our deck. So we have to bury an extra card. Then what we need to do is we have to take, 20 some odd damage. But before we do that, we're going to recharge this card so that we can re-roll that D10, which was whatever it was, doesn't really matter. But we want to recharge the card. Okay, we're taking like 20 something points of damage. We can banish this card to reduce combat damage dealt to you to 0. If proficient with light armors, bury it instead. Okay, so at least we got that. We can bury this card, so we don't have to take any damage, and then that way we don't have to deal with the Sky Pharaoh's throne ability, and we can also keep our embalming fluid in our hand. Okay, well, pretty devastating there. Let's go ahead and shuffle this villain back into the deck. So we still got 9 cards left in the deck, so I'm going to roll D10, see which card is on top. The 9th card is on top. Alright, so we are now going to reset Drum's hand. Alright, let's get a weapon. And we do. Alright, advancing the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Elements. First thing Drelm is going to do is cast Sands of Time. He'll put it as a reminder above this scenario. He can add a die when he does checks against the undead or construct trait encounters. So now we will explore, and this creature's back. Wow. Okay, well, at least we got the Sands of Time going for us. We also do have our Shadow Touch Show Tell, and we got Stained Glass Elemental, Blessing the Kepri, and the Embalming Fluid. Alright, let's try round 2 here. I like these slugfests against these impossible villains. We're rolling the D10 for melee, D10 because of the Sands of Time. We're rolling the D6 thanks to the Shadow Touch Show Tell. Well, this Shadow Touch Show Tell says, if proficient with weapons, you may additionally discard this card to add 2 to your check for each die you roll and the cold and electricity traits. So this guy's only immune to mental and poison traits, but we're also using the Embalming Fluid. So we are going to toss this card, or actually discard it, so we get to add +2 to each die you roll. Okay, so we're tossing that. We're only rolling 3 dice though, so that's kind of a problem. But our total buffs, thanks to Embalming Fluid, we're adding melee, which is +4, Embalming Fluid, which is going to make that total of 6, and the Shadow Touch Show Tell gives us an additional 2. So we got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're adding 14 to this roll. Okay, so it's a little better. Oh, but you know what? Shucks. I was like all totally excited about defeating this villain. But guess what? So, so I played the Sands of Time, and then I explored. But look at that. We have all the cards we need to defeat this guy. But as it is, we have to succeed at that charisma check, or we have to recharge our hand. Wow. So I totally forgot all about that. So unfortunately, here we have the Shadow Touch Show Tell, we got the Embalming Fluid, we got Stained Glass Elemental, we got the Blessing the Kepri, we got all these great cards to defeat this villain, but as it is, we have to recharge our hand because of his ability. And now we get to reset our hand. So resetting our hand, and we have to bury a card. So we are going to bury, okay, so we're going to bury the Death Grip spell. And there's a reason, there's a method to that madness. So now we can go ahead and try our check. It says here, if your check against this creature has the fire trait, add 1d8. Well, fortunately, we have the fire. I'm just going to call this the fire knife. Okay, so we can we are going to recharge this card to add another 2d4. So this is cool. So we can add our strength check, our strength, which is d10, or our melee, which is d10. We can add a d4. We can also add another 2d4, assembling our dice here. Sands of Time gives us that additional d10. So with that, we're adding the buffs of +5. Plus we have a corrosion spell in our hand. We can discard this card to add 1 die to any check against a monster that has the construct or undead trait. Well, sweet. Of course we're going to do that. Of course we want that extra 1d10. Alright, and that's it. So that's the extent of our dice. Pretty cool, pretty nifty. And we're adding a total of +5 to this roll. So we're adding, yep. So we're only adding 5 to this roll, and we need to get a total of 30. Alright, let's see what happens. Alright, rolling 2d10, a bunch of dice. We need 30. So we rolled an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17, and 4. So, here's where if we had that Blessing of Kepri, it would have really helped out. Because as it is, our total buffs were 5. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 17, 18, 18, 26. Wow. So we only rolled a 26. So we did not succeed at defeating this villain. Fortunately, we have this armor in our hand where we can bury this card to reduce combat damage to 0. So it says, if proficient with light armors, discard this card instead. Okay, we'll discard it along with the fire. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add a D8 because of the fire trait. Okay, we're gonna shenanigan. We are going to shenanigan. I mean, what do you think? We should have added an extra D8 because of the fire trait. So let's just rewind here. I mean, we did cast the Sands of Time, so it's very thematic that we do re-roll our dice here. Let's try it one more time. Alright, so we rolled a 2, and a 3, and a 9. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Wow. So 22 and our buffs were 5. So 22 and 5 is 27. Well, a little better, but we still failed. Okay, well, you know, just wanted to try. So we do still fail that check. We still are going to use this armor. We discard it so we don't take any damage. We're going to roll to see if we recharge our corrosion spell. 3, and our divine was plus 6, so 9. Did we do it? Yes, we did. Sweet. So we recharge our corrosion spell. It's pretty awesome. And now this pesky villain will go ahead and get recharged back into the location deck. Wow, how about that? Very, very cool. Well, I certainly designed a challenging adventure. What can I say? Pat myself on the back here. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just randomly determining what card was on top of the location deck. We will reset Drelm's hand. Okay, there's that. Advancing the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of Horus. We get the Hungry Fog. Drelm's Wisdom. It's a Wisdom check. It's D8. It has the obstacle trait, so Drelm can add his Divine skill. So that means our total buffs are 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is an auto defeat. We just totally mowed down that Hungry Fog. Advancing the Blessings deck, it's a Blessing of Ra. Exploring, we get the Flaming Spear. It's a Dexterity check. Drelm's Dexterity is only D6. This is an auto fail. Excuse me. We're going to use the Blessing of Nephis to examine the top 2 cards of our deck and put them back in any order. Then we explore our location. So we examine this card, so there's no examining effect, and we examine that card. And we put them back in any order. So here's the thing. So we are going to go ahead and encounter this card. We are going to explore. So it was like a mandatory exploration. So we fail this check, then before you act, so we're just automatically going to reset our hand. So we're resetting our hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have to bury a card. So we will go ahead and we will bury, we'll bury the bird feather tokens. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we'll do the combat check. We got the Shatter Touch Shotel back. So we are going to discard the card and add 2 to every roll, or add 2 to every die. So, melee check, D10. Sands of Time, D10. We are going to go ahead and use a Blessing of Abdar. That's going to give us another D10. The Shatter Touch Shotel gave us a D6. And we are using the embalming fluid here. It came back. So our total buffs, thanks to the Shatter Touch Shotel and the melee. So melee is 4, embalming fluid 5, 6. Shatter Touch Shotel is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Wow. So we get a total of 10 and 16. 16 in buffs, even before we roll the dice. Okay, I think that we are fine. So adding a total of 16 to this roll, thanks to the Shatter Touch show tell. And let's see what we get. Alright, we got a 10, 17, and we get a total of 9. So, 9, 10, 16, 26, and all of our buffs. So look at that. The villain has been defeated. So what we need to do is we still have to roll for the embalming fluid. See if we make that check. This time we do. So we don't have to bury a card. Because the only trick was we still needed to recharge our hand. Or recharge our hand. So we were able to recharge our hand. We didn't run out of cards. The closing effect is bury your discard pile. Not a problem. So Drelm was able to succeed at that scenario. Okay, technical difficulties here. Let's go ahead and do a deck check. That was the final scenario of level 4. This guy, Pharaoh's Throne, will only have to visit that 2 more times, and then Drelm finally is able to defeat this guy, Pharaoh. Alright, let's go ahead and do a deck check here. Drelm had a lot of cool cards. That was a really cool scenario. I mean, a lot of cool barriers to defeat that villain. Yeah, so in future campaigns, or maybe starting with this one, I'm just going to say that the henchman is the villain, so that if you defeat the henchman, it's the exact same thing as defeating the villain, as in you don't have to close the location, because closing the locations, that can be kind of problematic for certain characters. Alright, so the reward for this scenario is this loot item, the whatever it is, Sphinx. So we get this loot item. It's an item. It's not really that interesting. It says banish this card to draw a loot ally that has the Moffat or Sphinx trait. And there's only one loot ally with the Moffat or Sphinx trait. Or actually, no, there's 2. So we can either choose to toss it to get this guy, like Vulture Dude, or it's like the other one who we actually tossed because we didn't want her anymore. Where is she? Or we can get like her back. So, I mean, the loot isn't really that interesting. So we're probably going to go visit a trader. It's an item. So what we're going to do is for this scenario, we get a power feat. And the power feat I'm going to choose is, I haven't really used this yet, but I want to max out this one. We did, when you encounter a card before you act, you may recharge a card that has the Abdar or Divine trait. So we want to switch that. We had the Abdar trait. We got a Blessing of Abdar like 3 adventures ago, but we really haven't used it. But this way, if we mark off the Divine trait, then we'll be able to use this much more often, where we can draw a random weapon, armor, or item from the box. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Drelm is a vault keeper. Now he's a vault keeper extraordinaire. Alright, let's go ahead and visit a trader. I mean, Drelm's got a lot. This is the last adventure of level 4. So he's got the stained glass elemental. Let's go ahead and visit the good old auction house. See what we can trade for trade to get. So we're gonna randomly shuffle these allies. We're gonna pick a giant stack here, so we can get. Let's go ahead and zoom back out here so you can see the auction house here. Visiting the auction house, and the auction house says, excuse me. So let's see. We're looking for level 3 or level 4, so we get Commander Abdallah, or we can get a Scribe, or we can get the Mopdet Hunter. Okay, so we can go ahead. This helps people at other locations, or we can explore. The Scribe, add 2d6 to your diplomacy or knowledge check. I mean, that's power right there. I mean, I like that. Or we can get Commander Abdallah. Let's see. I mean, that's interesting. The thing is that if we go ahead and really focus on Abdar, we can bury this card to recharge the number of blessings that have the Abdar trait from this card. To me, that's really interesting. I mean, maybe Drelm should go ahead and get Commander Abdallah. So the thing is that if we do go to the auction house, we're gonna have to give items of level 3 or 4. So that means we'd have to lose either the Advocate's armor. Well, we have to lose that, but then what's the extra thing that we're going to lose in order to get that? None of these spells are levels 3 or 4. We can trade in the Shadow Touch Shotel. We can trade the Shadow Touch Shotel and the Myothic Sphinx to get Commander Abdallah. But that means that we're going to have to get like a really lame weapon. We're only going to have these 2 weapons. Do we want to get rid of the Shadow Touch Shotel? I mean, I don't really think it's that nifty in the first place. You know, call me crazy, but we're going to go ahead and trade in Shadow Touch Shotel, and we're going to trade in the loot item, which we really don't want. So the choice is are we going to get the Scribe? The Scribe is very situational, but really powerful, because we can add 2d6 to our diplomacy check. Or are we going to get Commander Abdallah? And if we get Commander Abdallah, we'll probably lose the Tomb Raider. So I don't know. Scribe or Commander Abdallah. I like the Scribe, but I think Commander Abdallah is going to be more for what Drelm is going to need. So we're going to go ahead, toss the Tomb Raider. Commander Abdallah, welcome to Drelm's deck. And we're going to have to rebuild our deck by getting another basic weapon up there. Alright, well, this is the state of Drelm's deck. We are going to be starting level 5 next scenario. This has been a pretty awesome campaign. Level 4 was really challenging. Really happy with that. So hopefully you've been enjoying the campaign so far. And I will have another adventure up shortly. Alright, thank you.